How can you know what's true? Everyone's trying to pull you in a different direction to convince you that their way is the right way. This can be anything from a political party trying to convert you to join them, to a mainstream religious person wanting you to convert to their faith, or even a salesperson trying to get you to buy a product. They'll try every tactic to try and convince you and get you to see things their way. So you have to be constantly on guard. But what about the ultimate question of existence? How can you know the truth of reality? How can you separate fact from fiction? We're going to take a deep look at this right now. Most people don't really give very much thought at all to how they understand the world. They just go with the flow, with whatever feels right to them. Now this is crazy. Reality is an intelligence test. It's a great puzzle. And if you want to understand it, if you want to unlock the code, you have to pay attention. Some people use their feelings to understand reality. Now these kinds of people are usually involved in a mainstream religion. They just feel that it's right. They have faith. They feel the Holy Spirit speaking to them in their heart. The problem with this is that one person might feel that their beliefs are absolutely true, but another person with a completely different set of beliefs will feel just as strong about their own. If these beliefs are incompatible, someone has to be wrong. They can't both be right. Obviously, feelings are not a good indicator of what is true. All kinds of wars have been fought because of this. Some people think that seeing is believing. They think, I'll only believe in God if he appears in front of me and tells me that he's God. There's a lot of problems with this. First of all, how can you trust your senses? How do you know that you aren't hallucinating or suffering from some kind of mental delusion? And even if you could somehow be sure that you weren't, how do you know that the being before you is actually a god? How do you know that it's not some sort of evil being just pretending to be a god? Okay, so what about rigorous experiments and empirical testing? This is an improvement, but it still falls short of truth. This kind of testing once said that classical mechanics was true, but with the advent of quantum mechanics, it's now known that classical mechanics is only an approximation and it doesn't reflect reality in itself. Also, if reality is ultimately non-physical, empirical observation can never get to it. By using this method to attempt to discover ultimate reality, you're presupposing that ultimate reality is something physical. Some people think that their mystical intuition or psychedelic experiences show them truth. But really, again, this is only an approximation. These experiences only seem like ultimate reality in the moment. If you were able to have that experience 24/7, it would become normal to you and you'd start to wonder what that experience actually was. You've only moved the question of reality one level back. For example, let's say that the world is like a computer simulation and that you're hooked up to a machine somewhere in the real world. If you were suddenly unplugged and woke up in the real world, that world would seem like actual reality for a while. But eventually, as you got used to it, you'd begin to question what that world is. How is that world possible? Is it another simulation and you're plugged in somewhere else? Is it a simulation within a simulation? Now you're stuck in an infinite regress of simulations within simulations, and you aren't actually getting any answers. You're just moving it back a level every time. So how can you know what's true? What goes beyond the subjective feelings of emotions, foggy mystical intuitions, the fallible senses, and limited empirical observation? Only logic and reason. Reason allows you to get to the heart of reality free from distortion. Reason allows you to get to the essence of reality because this is a rational universe. Now, what does that mean exactly? Some people might think, what do you mean this is a rational universe? People behave irrationally all the time. Now, when I say that the universe is rational, it doesn't mean that people don't do idiotic, stupid things. The vast majority of people behave highly irrationally. What I'm saying is that the universe obeys a set of structured, ordered, objective, rational rules. In a computer game, a character in the game can behave any way it wants. It can act as stupid and irrational as it pleases. But that doesn't change the fact that the computer game is founded on a set of rules, the programming. It's the programming that makes the game possible and allows the game character to behave in those irrational ways. Likewise, this reality obeys a set of eternal rational laws, and it's precisely those eternal rational laws that allows reality to exist and makes it possible for the people in it to behave in the way they do. Just because this is a rational universe doesn't mean that people can't behave irrationally within it. So let's define it even more. To say that the universe is rational means that for everything that exists, there exists a reason for why it exists in the way that it does. There are no such thing as miracles. Nothing can happen for no reason whatsoever. Everything has to have a reason, even if it's incredibly complex or we don't know what that reason is. Also, to say that this universe is a rational universe doesn't mean that everything is boring or mechanical. The rationalist position is not the position of scientific materialism, which says that everything is reducible to matter and their interactions. In fact, reason shows that this reality is incredibly fascinating and it reveals hidden realities beyond imagination. It goes infinitely further than the most powerful psychedelic drug. Everything in reality follows a rational code. You can't have some of reality be rational and another part be irrational. They're incompatible with each other. This inherits the problem of substance dualism, which says that if you have two things that are completely different from each other, it's impossible for them to interact. The universe is either completely rational or completely irrational. If this were an irrational universe, there would be no reason to it whatsoever. Completely random things would be happening at every instant. Furthermore, you can't try to find a reason why the universe might be irrational, because as soon as you attempt to find a reason, you're affirming that things must have a reason for them to be a certain way. Because this is a rational reality, because it follows an ordered set of rules, this means that you can use reason to discover the absolute answers of existence. Faith, feelings, and intuitions can never get you there. Inductive methods can only give you a probability of something being true, but it can never be better than an approximation. Empirical observation can never penetrate beyond the physical into the underlying immaterial pattern that governs reality. Because reason is that underlying pattern that governs reality, we can use reason to get to the essence of existence with 100% certainty. Faith, miracles, prayer, and the senses can't get you there, but reason can, because reality is rational. The Hyperion rationalist method utilizes a deductive system to work out the a priori structure of reality. Given that the premises are true, the deductive method guarantees 100% that the conclusions are true. The premise that we start with is simply that there exists a sufficient reason for everything that exists, and everything else in our deductive system is derived from that infallible ground. Reason is a faculty of the mind, and this is a rational reality. It's a reality of mind. We can utilize our minds by properly applying reason to understand all the secrets of existence. What is reason? Reason is the ordered underlying pattern of reality. This is why reality behaves in an ordered way. If reality were not rational, this would not be possible. Just like a computer game requires an underlying code in order for the game to run and exist at all. In fact, the underlying code of reality is a mathematical code. Reason and mathematics are the same thing. Mathematics is the ultimate system of reason, and by understanding the laws of mathematics, you are understanding the laws of reason. This is not a physical reality, it's a mathematical reality. But that doesn't mean that this is a boring or mechanical existence. The nature of mathematics is completely different than what you've been taught. Mathematics is a living energy pattern, and by understanding that pattern and integrating it into your consciousness, you will discover hidden worlds. You can use logic and reason to test everything around you and to know when someone or something is deceiving you. Even if an angel appeared before you, you could question it, and if it contradicted reason, you would know that it was lying. If your senses show you something that is contrary to reason, then you can know that they're deceiving you. If empirical data gives you an irrational result, then you know that there is something wrong with the data or that it's incomplete. Reason allows you to cut through all the bullshit and understand existence with complete certainty. Reason is beyond subjectivism and emotions. 2 + 2 = 4 is true for all time, and it doesn't matter what you feel about it or how much you want it to equal something else. It won't change by praying to it, and it's true no matter what your senses tell you. Humanity must recognize that this is a rational reality. This is the key to unlocking the puzzle of reality. When you understand and integrate the mathematical pattern of existence, you'll reach the next evolutionary step. It's time to enter the age of reason, the age of mind. Pay close attention. A new dawn is rising. My name is Morg, herald of the new Hyperion Age. Ad Astra. To the stars. Make sure that you like and subscribe and check out my Patreon for hidden videos.
Remember that this is a mathematical reality. Reality is predicated. Reality is founded on a mathematical code, and this mathematical code is living energy. When you take all the code together, the total result of all the code, all the mathematical code taken together results in 0.
If you enjoy my work, then consider supporting on Patreon. Without you, making these videos wouldn't be possible. Now, I'd like to say thank you to everyone on Patreon as we work together to create a world led by logic and reason.